Welcome to our online teaching and time we'll spend together today. And today, Peggy from Alabama is with us, and Mirabai from upstate New York is with us. And you are all with us, and we're really happy about that. We keep these online teachings going every 2 weeks. We come together like this in order just to keep the momentum of the grandmother's work moving forward and to keep on strengthening and amplifying the power of the net of light that's holding the earth now during these radical times of change that we're living through. And each of you, each time you think of working with the net of light, or even just think, net of light, you activate it. Your thought directs your energy, you activate the net of light, which then goes on to anchor light and love as a template here for us to live on and live in. And so you emphasize this great oneness, the one love with your minds and your hearts every time you think of joining together. And so these online teachings are little reminders, little sparks in the great continuing fire of our love that's ongoing and ongoing. We have this joy of being able to do this together now. And I know the times we're living in are tough. They're shocking. They feel overwhelming sometimes, and they're not because we're here and because the net of light is alive within us, alive within our beloved planet, alive within all the elements on earth and all beings on earth. And we celebrate this. And so today we will really be celebrating this because before we do another thing, I just want to put this thought out there. Many of us have now been uh, aware of the net of light for several years, some of us for quite a few years. And we have begun to incorporate this into our lives as a kind of living, walking, breathing prayer that we live in all the time. This does not go unnoticed. Because we do this, we amplify this fabric of being of the universe for the universe. This amplifies the power of it for our individual selves and our individual lives, and it amplifies the power of it for the whole, for the all, for everything that lives. And because there is no limit of time and space in this realm we work in the net of light, this work goes back into what we think of as the past, goes forward into what we think of as the future, and is vibrating, pulsating in this great now moment at all times. So, to begin, I'm going to ask Mirabai if she would lead us in the net of light meditation, just to really anchor personally and planetarily this beautiful, great love for everything that lives. So, Mirabai, will you do that?
Thank you, Sharon, of course. So relax now and let yourself be supported in whatever space you are in right now, breathing in this present moment and calling in and honoring the elements. We begin with the earth in our bodies, the water in our veins, the air in our breathing, the fire in our hearts, and ether, the most subtle of all the elements, the place of nothing and everything, where the net of light resides. Picture the net of light now with the eye of your heart. The grandmothers have said that this is the net of light that will hold the earth during these times of change which have now come upon us. Everything is shifting now, but the net of light is steady and it embraces, embodies, and holds everything that lives. And when you picture this great net of light, find a place where two of the strands come together and take your place. A place that will feel right for you, a place that is your place. So sit down there and let the net of light hold you. Breathe with it. Vibrate with it. You are in harmony with the net of light and deeply connected to it. In fact, the net of light is lit by the radiance of your own heart. And the great love that flows out from us to the net of light immediately flows back into us, giving us everything that we need. It's a beautiful dance, the dance of the universe, the give and the take. So right now we think of our union with all of those around the planet, working with the net of light, working with the net within their own hearts to bless all beings. We connect with the sacred and holy places upon our planet that are constantly charging the atmosphere with light. We connect with the great beings, the great saints, the sages, the avatars who gladly give their lives in service. We connect with the ancestors who are no longer here in physical form and whose love goes on and whose wish is also to serve and bless. And together in light, we cast the net of light to the human family, asking that wherever there is suffering, wherever there is deprivation and strife, fear and grief and anger, that the net of light penetrate more deeply. We cast to all those who feel alone and alienated, letting them know that they are deeply connected in love and light, and that they matter. That every human being, adults and children of any gender identity, receive what they most need. We cast the net of light to the leaders of this world. We cast to our ancestors and to our successors, that all may be held forever and always within this embrace of love and light. We call in and acknowledge the nature spirits who guide and inform and connect us to the vibrant and abundant life that is everywhere we look and in places that we don't look. And with their blessings and assistance, we cast the animal kingdom, the furred, the finned, the feathered, the creepy crawlies, asking that every animal receive what they most need. We cast to the plant kingdom and to the mineral kingdom, to the mycelial network beneath our feet. We cast to everything that lives, asking that blessings flow forth everywhere. And together we ask, may everyone in all the worlds be happy. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. Om. Peace. Peace. Peace.
Feel your bodies now as we just called in the net of light. And every time we do that, it responds immediately. Feel the response now, how it resonates with you. There is a saying that the divine cannot resist the great love of the seeker of love. So when you ask, you will receive. Always. I'm just going to share a couple of things with you that some of our family throughout the world is doing as their mode of expressing this love and their mode of expressing their connection with the net of light and with all beings. And I'm only going to mention a few of them because there are so many and so much beautiful work and love, moving love forward and projects happening. It's wonderful. But I wanted to mention a few. I want to thank Gloria up in Saskatchewan and Manitoba, who's holding and has held for more than 10 years the net of light anchored there in the land of the original people of Canada. She's been stalwart throughout all the years, and most of the work she does alone as a beacon of one. And she holds a meeting of one, her with the grandmothers, because she lives in isolated territory. Thank you, Gloria. And I also want to thank Deborah, our wandering mendicant grandmother who travels around the world, anchoring the net of light everywhere, connecting with people everywhere. To my knowledge, and I could be off because she's constantly moving, she is now in South Africa, where she does this work more often than not now. We had a lot of time with her in England, and she came over to the United States also, but now she's in South Africa. I want to thank Katie in Southern California. Some of you have heard from her. Katie is our greeter. She describes herself as the big friendly dog at the gate. Yes, she's so happy to meet everybody who's coming in to this work, and she greets them right from her heart and lets them know, have you had the grandmother's empowerment yet? If not, we'll arrange it. Please read one of the books. Here are the groups that you can join. She really welcomes them. And I want to thank Miriam, who's down in Brazil and has now stepped up to translate the grandmother's first book, A Call to Power, The Grandmothers Speak, into Portuguese. So Miriam, Godspeed, and I hope that people will come in and help you because that is a big, big task and will do a lot of good. I want to thank Sane and Nicole in Germany, who are pretty much, well, they're not by themselves anymore. Now they're developing a group. We got a very good publisher in Germany, and now the grandmother's books are selling like wildfire in Germany. And so people are coming in to Nicole and Sane, forming groups, having Zoom groups. They have a newsletter, I believe, a mailing list. They're forming the body of light for this work in Germany and in the German-speaking populations of the world. I want to thank all the teams of beacons throughout the world who are meeting with their regional coordinators to amplify their connection with one another and enrich this family of light of which we are a part. And most of all, I want to thank each one of you who heard the grandmother's call and answered. The grandmothers say, no one comes to this work unless we call them. And then there are those certain ones who hear the call and respond. You're looking at me now and Mirabai, and you're going to see Peggy. We've all done that. And there are hundreds, probably thousands of us now around the world who have answered in this way. And because we've got the joy of being on this ride with the grandmothers at this particular time in history when we have been called to stand up, anchor ourselves, and anchor light for the good of ourselves and for the good of everything that lives. Now, we've been doing this since the grandmothers first showed up in 1996, and it's snowballed. It's gotten bigger and bigger and more powerful. And each day, new people hear about it, come in, begin to read the books, begin to join with different groups and Zoom groups. Get online, start notifying us, and coming alive. So this family is growing all the time. And as that happens, the power of the work grows. And this wave that we're all surfing and riding now gets bigger and goes faster. And it's way more fun, consistently and continuously. So that now doing this work is not so difficult. It's not difficult now to connect, to line up with the net of light, because the pathway has been laid down. When we began, there were just a couple of us, kind of like people in the jungle with our machetes, whacking away at the bushes, making a path, and now it's running a super highway. So it's going to be easier and easier for all of us. And with us are always all the ancestors of the light as well, who are so happy and so generous in their loving care. They work with us and we with them. And by so doing, the different pains and blockages from the past are lifted and lighted. So we hope that you'll stay tuned with us and be part of this work. And what I wanted to do now is I asked Peggy and Mirabai to join with me today so we could just kind of talk about what this working in this way is doing for us and those with whom we're doing the work. So Peggy leads a group in Alabama, and she is one of the regional coordinators for the Southeast in the United States. Mirabai leads a group with two other women, Karen and Cheryl, in Rochester, New York. And Mirabai and Carol and Cheryl are all regional coordinators for the Northeast. I hope I've got that right. I think I do. Anyway, so I'd like us just to throw that open. And the good thing about having other people speak here is if it's just me, it's limited as to what comes through, my mind and to you. But with three of us, it's much richer. So we're looking at what's this work doing for you and for those with whom you are in contact. Those can be other people who are working with the net of light, the grandmother's work, can be your family or community, whatever. But so I'd like to hear from either one of you. Peg, you haven't spoken yet. You want to speak?
Sure. Hello, everyone. So you ask what the work's done for me. Where do I start? Let me count the ways, and I can't count the ways. It's vast. So when I think about kind of I'd say the trajectory, if you will, of my spiritual growth since I took on the grandmother's work, it's just skyrocketed. And that's not to say I didn't have a spiritual life beforehand, because I did. I was a very active seeker, starting probably in about my early 20s. So it wasn't as if I hadn't given thought to it or thought it was important, because I did. And I followed many, many teachers and went down many, many paths, and experienced great benefit from all of them. And I think what all of that active searching I did for decades, I think it laid a foundation, or it served as a springboard for me to jump into these teachings and activate them in my life in a different way, because they're so accessible, they're so simple, but so profound. And my experience is, the more I've done, the more I'm incorporating my divinity, and the easier it gets. I still have personality stuff. My ego still trots out more than I would like, but I can catch that pretty quickly now. And when I see that, okay, sometimes we're walking on a tightrope in this spiritual path we follow, and okay, I'm starting to tumble off the tightrope now, and I catch myself, and a lot of times I'm pretty amused at how quickly it happened. But sometimes I can actually stay on the tightrope pretty well for a while. And so it's affected my life in an astounding way. And I guess the person who could best speak to, how it might affect other people is how it has affected my husband, Bill, because, 41 years and still, and we're still together and growing and really like each other and really love each other. And so there's something good there. And I think he's kind of floored at where I am now with my work with the grandmothers in the Net of Light, and all of us on this call, and all of us not on the call who would like to be here but don't even know about it, don't know about this amazing gift, this resource that we have. Because Bill thinks he thinks the grandmothers are just the very best, and he loves the work. Is he sitting in on this call? No, it's not his thing, but he loves us anyway. And he's extremely supportive of this work. And he would be saying, "Bravo, grandmothers," if he were in here.
Oh, Peg, thanks for sharing that. How fun. I could ask you a million questions, take off from there, but I'm not going to do it, because I just think we'll just keep going. So Mirabai, how about you want to chime in?
I would love to chime in. Peggy, I love what you said about the work of the grandmothers being accessible, because that is what I've found has been the greatest draw for people. Is it crosses all boundaries. And for me, one of the greatest teachings of the grandmothers, which I still am working to embody, is that my beingness makes a difference, because I'm a doer and I'm a go, go, go. And I know that there was a point in time several months ago where I really just spent a lot of time in contemplation. And I knew from my work with the grandmothers that I was making a difference just in that beingness. And what we see with our group in Rochester is people are resonating with the teachings because they've been looking for something to anchor them in, like you say, Sharon, this time where everything is just so rocky. I've got the vision one day when I was meditating with the grandmothers of, when you drive down the highway and you see the rock, the highway's cut through the rocks, and you see those big fences that are holding the rocks back so they don't fall on the highway. That to me is the grandmothers. That's the Net of Light. That's, holding everything up. And so in my day-to-day life, I call on the grandmothers And for me, okay, true confession, the grandmothers are trees. That's how they appear to me. I have a sacred pine forest. I go out, I talk with the pines, I talk to the grandmothers. But what we're seeing here in Rochester is just this sacred connection, because we hold a book group every other Sunday. And we hold this sacred space for people to just be. And sometimes we will sit in silence for 2-3 minutes and just hold each other in this net, in love, no judgment. And it's so healing. It is so healing. So
Mirabai, would you say something about the book group? Because I don't think anybody is going to know what that means.
Sure, sure. So Karen, our co-beacon, back, I think it was last summer, said, I think that we should have a book group, a grandmother's read book group. And we started that, and we were meeting every other Sunday. And we put it on our Facebook page, and several people called in, and we have this book, and we welcome everybody. And we say, you don't have to read the book. You don't have to have read the book to get the teachings and get the and be in this book group. And it's a relatively small group. We have people duck in and out, but there is a very sacred container that is formed when we get together. And we do focus on a chapter. Of course, it's always something that's going on for one of us when we get together, right? How does that happen? And that has been a really wonderful way of sharing the grandmothers with our group.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that, because this is how the work began. And this is why I wrote those books as teaching aids, to sit around together like in a study circle and read aloud. One person would read a paragraph or two, and the next one, and blah, blah. And if those of you who've seen the grandmother's books, there's 3 of them right now. The 4th one is in process, but you'll see the print is normal kind of print. And then when the grandmothers speak, it's always in bold. So as we would read, we'd come to a place where the grandmothers would speak, and there, inevitably, in those bold passages, of which there are many, there's gold in that bold. And so you start to read that, and then you say, oh, and there's something really to share and talk about. And so the teachings go very, very deep that way. Yeah. The grandmothers say, we ask you to live our message. We don't care if you tell anybody about it. We ask you to live it. And the books are the best vehicle, and sharing those books even better, to get to that place of living the grandmother's message. Thank you for sharing that. I'm just looking at the time and thinking, holy Toledo, we don't have a lot of time. The time goes really fast. Peg, let's go around with you too, just a couple more minutes. Is there anything you want to add on to what Mirabai said?
I guess what I got from what you were saying, Mirabai, or at least in part, was how stunning it is to have the degree of support and connection that you have grown, fostered, and are nurturing through your book group. And I've seen that in my own group. And now when we met in person, and how powerful it was for each of the women who came, including me, of course. And now that we're Zooming and we have more people coming all the time, what I hear from these women is that the teachings impact them so powerfully that they kind of can't believe the before and the after. You know, they've been good-hearted, loving people, and they've done amazing things in this world, and you know, just full of good-heartedness and generosity. And then they start realizing about what the teachings hold. I love what you said, Sharon, the gold in the bold, because you read that and it's like, oh my goodness, I could just embody the divine, just flipping pages and realizing, oh, it's here. It's here. It's always been here, but these teachings are waking me up to that truth. And I don't have to always be on the search. One of the teachers that I resonated with a long time ago had call off the search. And now I look at it as she was right. At a point, you just start living it. You do embody it. And when you've asked to be made aware, when you're falling off, the tightrope or whatever aspect, what visual appeals to you, we're immediately aware when we're not living from that space. There's a very different feeling. It's a visceral sense of when you're living in your heart and embodying the truth, and when you're not.
Yes, yes, yes. Mirabai, is there anything you'd like to add before we do a sum up?
I would like to say that one of the things that I feel has helped our group in working with the grandmothers has been the knowing that the yang energy, that the male, how do I put this? That men are not the enemy. Okay, and we have so many experiences of that in our current world, that men are hurting and men need that yin energy to help nurture. A teacher told me years ago, the oppressor is oppressed by the oppression. And when I think of that, I always go back to what is the root cause of this person acting this way. So we've been able to become so much more compassionate with ourselves and with others. And that's been a beautiful teaching that we have all embodied. When we want to just say, oh, this is craziness, we realize what's really at the root of this, and just holding our light makes a difference. So I think that's been a really great teaching for us. Thank you.
Thank you. What I'd like to do now, we've got just a few minutes. I'd like us all to go in together now, and we're going to work with the Net of Light and the grandmothers, and we're going to learn something good, something very useful and heart-filling. So just think of giving yourself maybe 5 minutes. I don't think it'll go longer than that. And together we experience our union, our hearts linked together. There are people here with us from different continents on Earth, from many different countries and cultures. And we're grateful to be together in this weave of light. And we experience our union together. And just as Mirabai had us do in the beginning, we call on the radiant net of light and affirm our place in it, and ask that our nexus of light be fully supported, and at the same time, fully supporting. Throughout the strands of the net of light, we are all connected. We cannot help but bless one another and help one another. That's the way it's laid out. That is the weave of the fabric of being, of the universe. And we are an intricate part of that, uplifting and uplifted at all times. So we ask the grandmothers now to come in and encircle you so that you are entirely within their energy field. They are beside you, behind you, in front of you, above you, below you. They have encircled your energy field, and they have their arms around you, supporting you in great love. And so we're going to ask them very simply to begin to show you how much of this great love you have imbibed at this point. How much have you assimilated? Much more than you know, because this is working 24 hours a day, at all times. And once you say yes to the divine never gives up. And so the grandmothers are with you, have been with you right from the get-go. And I say the grandmothers because, of course, they're here, but also all forms of the divine are here. And if there's a particular form of the divine that's precious to you, call that one. They're here as well. The grandmothers laugh about this and they say there's no difference in the divine. Call us and Jesus will come. Call Jesus and Allah will come. We all come. So we say, you all come now, and they do. And they're holding us. Let them hold you and let your back kind of relax. Let them hold you. They have your back. They are under you. You may feel them under your buttocks and legs, under your feet. They surround you. You are breathing in their love. You're breathing in their light, soaking in and filling with goodness. And it's coming into your physical body, bringing in every good thing to this physical creation that you are. Healing and balance, well-being, harmony. Ask that your physical self receive all that it's ready to receive. And it does, as your energy follows your thought. You are assimilating throughout your mental body, throughout all thoughts, memory systems, perceptions, all healing and balancing, harmonizing together as you fill with radiant goodness, and your physical and your mental systems harmonize together effortlessly, beautifully, which begins the work with the emotional systems and all your emotional systems. All your feelings, all the sensations begin to relax and fill and infill with this endless goodness, repairing, blessing, and reactivating all the communications networks. And this is taking place now throughout the emotional, the mental, and the physical systems, all harmonizing together in the most loving and beautiful way. It's a deep soak of love and light. And then it's going on also in the spiritual systems of your creation, so that these four aspects of the energy being that we are, the mental, the emotional, the physical, the spiritual, are harmonizing together imperfection. And helping them are all the radiant elements. We've been spending months now getting to know the elements, harmonizing with them, learning what it is to be in flow with these precious parts of our creation here on earth, the earth, air, fire, water, and ether. And they, in turn, are harmonizing now with the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Basically, all aspects of your being now are rejoicing, filling, full. And ask the grandmothers and all aspects of the divine to teach you how to receive even more, because you are at heart an eager learner, and you like to learn and you want to learn. So let them know, yes, this is something I want and I'm ready. And then just turn that over to them, and they will give to you in just the right measure at just the right time. And this will be ongoing for you. This receptivity will increase and increase. And the grandmothers have promised, long ago, they promised that they would continue to increase our ability to both give and receive love. And this they do. And this they are doing right at this moment. So take this moment now and again, feel your body. Feel your breath moving throughout your creation. The way you're occupying space here and now on this Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening, depending where we are, Sunday morning, Monday morning, as you receive and receive. At this very end of February, every good thing coming home to roost now in you. You are home for good, and you are home for goodness. And just tune in and ask the grandmothers or any form of the divine, how would you describe what I'm experiencing right now? You may get a word or you might get a picture. How would you describe this? And then just observe. We ask that just because it gives the mind something to hold on to, because the actual experience we're having is so great that it's beyond words. And yet we live in these human bodies, and words are useful for our remembering and holding on to the truth of our being. This assimilation will go on for a long time now. When we say goodbye, which we'll do in a couple minutes, please, if you can, be quiet for just a couple minutes, because so much has moved and it will just keep soaking into you. Everyone in all the worlds be happy. Everyone in all the worlds be happy. Everyone in all the worlds be happy. Om peace, peace. May I be happy. May you be happy. May all beings be happy. And until we meet again in 2 weeks, enjoy the